And joining me now in the studio is Sam Rainsy. He's an exiled opposition leader and co-founder of the Cambodia National Rescue Party, or CNRP. Mr. Rainsy, welcome. Cambodia is headed to local polls next month.
Yes.
Do you think they're going to be free and fair and democratic?
Unfortunately, no, because the standard of elections in Cambodia is very low. There is manipulation of all sorts. And finally, the will of the people is never respected in Cambodia.
But there's also the question of the opposition. I mean, you co-founded one of the largest opposition parties that was banned in 2017. Does Cambodia have an opposition? Does the government have a challenge?
There is a new opposition that has been re-established or re-emerging, and at least there is an alternative for the people.
You're talking about the Candlelight Party.
The Candlelight Party.
What are its chances? Going back to what you just said, there is manipulation and the government pulls out all the stops to ensure that it gets the results it wants. What are the chances of this Candlelight Party?
There are possibilities that the Candlelight Party will recover some of the seats that belong to the CNRP and that have been confiscated by the ruling party. So it is better than nothing that there is another opposition party trying to get positions at the local level to defend the interests of the people at the grassroots level.
Do you think that democratic change in Cambodia will come from within, from parties like the Candlelight Party, or does it need to be forced onto Cambodia by the international community?
It is a start. Of course, we need the support of the international community in terms of monitoring to ensure that coming elections in Cambodia are not too manipulated, that it will reflect at least a portion of the will of the people.
Do you see the possibility that the Cambodian government would allow international observers to observe how this election plays out?
To some extent, but my concern is that the government will dissolve the Candlelight Party as they have dissolved the CNRP. When any opposition party gets stronger and able to challenge the government, then the government will dissolve that opposition party again.
So the government is waiting and watching to see how the Candlelight Party performs in these elections?
Yes, and they are seeking any pretext to stop the momentum of the Candlelight Party.
Okay, let me just try and pivot. I'd like to pivot to another issue that Cambodia is involved with, the situation in Myanmar. And I bring this up because Cambodia is currently chair of the ASEAN grouping of nations. And in January earlier this year, Prime Minister Hun Sen of Cambodia became the first leader of a country to meet the junta chief, Min Aung Hlaing. And there was criticism that this in many ways legitimized the junta's rule in Myanmar. Is that what Prime Minister Hun Sen was actually trying to do?
Yes, sadly. And it is difficult for Hun Sen to give lessons to the military junta in Myanmar, because Hun Sen has dissolved the opposition party, has jailed opposition leaders, has organized fake elections without the participation of the opposition party. This is exactly what the military junta should not do. But Hun Sen cannot tell the military junta not to do things that he has done himself in Cambodia already.
Which begs the question, is Cambodia being sincere in trying to resolve the Myanmar crisis as chair of ASEAN?
I think it's just a solidarity among dictators.
We'll have to leave it there. Sam Rainsy, exiled opposition leader of the Cambodia National Rescue Party. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you
for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.